This week, I'll lead you through a practice for releasing tension around the hips, the whole pelvic area, getting into the legs as well. We're going to do some gentle movements and stretches, trying to bring some ease and maybe more mobility around the hips and the whole lower body. Let's get started. The only prop that we really need today would be some kind of a block or maybe a bolster or a cushion that you can use for a supportive bridge. The other props are optional. I have a knee pad. We are going to have some movements on the knees, so if you know that you need any cushioning for the knees, then bring something into your practice. And then an optional strap, or you could use any kind of a belt or maybe some kind of a towel. When we are gently stretching in the backs of the legs, it might be nice to have something around the foot. But the block or some kind of a cushion would be quite needed for that supportive bridge. And then we shall start in child's pose. So bring yourself onto hands and knees, and from hands and knees into your child's pose. You might have your legs close together. You might have your legs wide apart. You could rock the pelvis a bit from side to side here. And just still allowing yourself to adjust if needed to find a child's pose that is manageable and possible now as the first pose. Arms could stay overhead, or you could bring also hands under the head. Any place where you could release the shoulders, you could release the neck. And then check in with your breath, just noticing your breath. And you might play with sending a few breaths somewhere further down, towards the lower back, towards the hips. When we go through the practice, as we are focusing on the lower body, I would encourage to focus on sending your breaths down towards the hips, towards the legs where you feel the pose is most. So let the breath help you physically but also mentally. Sometimes focusing on the breaths allows us to stay in the poses a bit longer and find that ease, find that release, that letting go. And now from child's pose, we'll slowly bring ourselves back onto hands and knees, and this time we are going to stay here for a little while. If you need to cushion the knees, you could do that. And then we'll start to circle the pelvis, trying to focus on moving through the hips. You could allow your pelvis to tilt, so a bit of kind of lifting the tail up, tucking the tail under. Also going through the side, so sending the pelvis a bit out to the side, then to the other side. You could change the direction. And if it feels better to have toes tucked under, that would be an option as well. Really finding some movement and inviting movement to the hips, to the pelvis. Couple more circles. And then from hands and knees, we're going to step the left foot forward, finding ourselves in a lizard, in like a low lunge. And here, you could have your hands on the mat, or as we start to move, if it's better to have just the right hand on the mat, if that gives more space to move, then you can do that. Or you might have a bolster, some blocks under hands as well. But we'll continue with that circling movement here. So again, start to circle the pelvis. And trying to send the movement towards the legs as well. So you might be extending, bending that front leg as you go through the circles. You can adjust where the hands are. You might even walk the hands a bit back and forth as you go through the circles, changing direction. And keep the left foot, keep that front foot mobile. Allow the foot to lift off and press down. Maybe there's some rotation outwards through the hip, through the foot. We'll do another circle. And then slowly calm down. And we'll bring both hands down, and then we're going to change legs the other way around. So again, if you need any cushioning under the knees, you can have cushioning there. We'll step the right foot forward. And again, keeping the right foot mobile, start to circle the pelvis. And it's very normal if one side feels different to the other. We are all asymmetrical and we might have more tension, we might have more freedom on one side more than the other. Keep breathing together with those movements. And again, you could change the direction. Change the hands to a different place. Let's do another couple of circles. And then slowly let the movement calm down. You could bring yourself back onto all fours, and from there we are going to come lie down on the back. So you can bring yourself into a seat, and then from that seat come lie down on the back, and now release the arms. You could bring arms overhead. You could step your feet just a bit wider than hip width apart. We'll keep the knees bent, and then we'll start to swing the knees from side to side. So we continue with movement before we go into some longer poses. Windshield wipers. We're finding some internal rotation through the hips. So bringing kind of one knee down, letting the hip rotate inwards. Keeping upper body soft. And then lean both knees towards the right side of the mat. So now the left hip rotates in. The ankle, the foot can be flexed if that supports the knee. And you can either stay here, or if you want, you could take that right foot or ankle and bring it on top of the left thigh. Kind of gently weigh the left leg down, the left buttock, left hip can happily come off the mat. If that feels safe in the left buttock, outside of the left thigh, then it's okay. If you start to feel pain in the knee, you can always release the right leg down. Take another couple of breaths in and out. And then slowly bring your legs back to center. And we'll go to the other side. So now lean both knees towards the left side of the mat. So now the right hip is rotating in, the right buttock, right side of the pelvis can come off the mat. And you could keep the legs here. Or you might bring the left ankle foot onto the right thigh. See what you want to do with your feet. I like to flex now on this side, the right ankle, the right foot. It supports my knee. But it might be the opposite for you. If extending the ankle more feels better, feel free to do that. Just keeping the joints safe. And breathing. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly bring your legs back to center. And if you want, you could hug the knees in for a moment. Just a couple of breaths in and out. And then we'll be going into some bridges. We're going to do some movement in bridges first, and then we'll stay in that supported bridge for a bit longer. So bring your feet onto the mat. Leave a bit of space there between the feet. And then arms could be down by your sides on the mat. We're going to lift the pelvis up. Just with your next breath, lift the pelvis, the back off the mat, opening through the front. And from there, breathing, slowly releasing the back, the pelvis down. You can play with your in-breaths, your out-breaths. Which one feels more natural to lift up? Lifting up into that bridge together with your breath. You could pause there for a moment. And then do you want to use your out breath or in breath to lower back down? We'll do 2 more movements up. The 4th one is going to stay up. So again, with your breath, lifting up, feet gently pressing down. See how much space we can find there to lift the pelvis up without jamming the lower back. And then slowly lower down. So not pushing too much into the lower back. Now this next one, we're going to stay up. So reach for your block, your bolster, your prop, and lift the pelvis up. And then slide your prop under the pelvis so that you could lower your pelvis on top of that support. Now softening through the buttocks, softening through the thighs more. You can keep your legs here. You might extend one leg. You might even extend both legs if that feels good. But I will let you know when we are halfway through if you want to do one leg at a time. And arms might go overhead if that feels good. Just allowing that opening through the front. If you have one leg extended, one leg bent, slowly with your next couple of breaths, change your legs the other way around. Here we have time to breathe, so send your breaths all the way down towards the pelvic bowl, towards the hips, even down towards the legs. And partially that's all visualization, but we could send the breaths towards the pelvis, towards that pelvic bowl. And then slowly bring your both feet back onto the mat. If you have arms overhead, slide your arms back down. Press down through the feet to elevate your pelvis off the prop so that you could then pull the prop aside, release your back, release your pelvis down. And then we're going to bring feet closer together and open legs into a reclining butterfly. You might have the soles of the feet together, or they could be just turned towards each other. They don't have to touch. Knees bent, turning knees out to the sides. And take a few breaths here, just releasing the inner thighs. You could have hands even resting on the inner thighs, not pushing down, but just sending that awareness all the way towards the thighs. Notice where you feel you could find some softness. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly close the hips. And then we're going to hug the right knee in. And now if you have a strap, if you have a towel, something you'd like to use when we lift one leg up into the air, you could now reach for that prop and then either bring the strap around your right foot as you lift your right leg up into the air. Or the other option would be to bring hands behind that right leg, so you don't need to use a prop. You can also use hands to support that right leg. You can keep the left leg bent, or often it's a bit more intense to extend the other leg. So see which one feels better for you. And then give a bit of movement for that right leg. Maybe it's just swinging the leg a bit from side to side. Bending, straightening the leg. And then we're going to leave that right leg up into a stretch. And we're going to breathe here. If you start to feel the stretch is really intense, then continue that bending and straightening movement. Just kind of gently pumping that back side of the leg a bit more open. Take a couple more breaths, either in a more static stretch or moving the leg. And then slowly start to bend the right knee. Bend left knee as well. Bring both knees towards the chest. And if you have a strap, if you have a towel, just move that prop around the left foot. And then bring your right foot onto the mat. And we'll start lifting the left leg up into the air. Again, remember, you might have hands somewhere behind the left knee, supporting the leg. And a bit of movement, rocking the left leg from side to side. Just inviting movement to the hip. A few times bend and straighten that leg. You could send the heel up, so it's an active extension. Lifting the heel up towards the ceiling. And then again, we can try to stay in the stretch. It might make a difference whether you flex or point your ankle. Or you might extend the right leg. Again, that might make things more intense because those two legs are connected. One is pulling on the other. Remember, you can continue bending and straightening the leg if that feels better. And keep breathing. Send your breaths all the way down towards the pelvis. Let's take another breath in and out. And then slowly releasing the foot down. You can put your belt away. Step both feet on the mat and just swing the legs a few times from side to side. And then from lying down on the back, roll down onto one side and bring yourself up into a seat. And we're going to go into the deer pose. So in deer pose, we're going to bring the right leg in front of us and left leg bent. It could be next to you, could be slightly behind you. And just try to do a bit of circling movement here for the hips, for the pelvis. Just testing if we can find some movement in the hips here. And then after a bit of movement, we're going to lean forward, leaning over that right shin or knee so that we could go and visit the right buttock, thigh one more time. You might move yourself a bit more to one side or the other. Is there a place we could access the right buttock? Once you find that place, just stay there for a bit. Releasing the neck, releasing the shoulders. And focused breaths towards the right hip, towards the lower back. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly bring your hands on the mat, lifting yourself up. And then step hands behind you and just turn the legs from side to side a few times, rotating the hips. And then we're going to turn towards the left leg and we'll find that deer shape here. And it might be that the legs need to be in a slightly different place, different shape on the second side. And finding that place where you could start to then circle the weight, moving through the hips. You could change direction. And again, it might be that the movement feels different on this side. That's very normal. And keep breathing. And then we'll let the movement calm down and we're going to lean forward again. You might lean forward over the shin, maybe over the knee, even towards the foot. To where could you maybe find some access to that left buttock, left thigh? Trying to soften through the shoulders, through the whole upper body. with the exhalations, release tension, release effort. Give yourself another couple of breaths in and out. And then in your own time, slowly find yourself up, back into that seat. And one more time, movement for the hips. You could do this without the arms as well. So you could just have your hands off the mat and just moving a couple of times from side to side, so that we can close the practice with some movement. And then from that movement, bring yourself into a seat. We're going to close in a seated pose today. Trying to find a seated pose where you could leave your hips at ease. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And then, if it's a part of your practice, you can bring your palms together in front of the chest. And as always, at the end of the practice, most importantly, thank yourself for hopefully bringing some ease into your hips today. And I thank you for joining in, for sharing this time and the practice. Namaste. Thank you.